Hello and welcome to the GhostÉire channel. My name's Anthony Kerrigan, and tonight we're joined by Donal Smith in Chicago. So sorry for a bit late there coming in there, folks. We just had a bit of technical problems as usual, as we do down this end. So tonight we're going to be talking to Donal Smith, Donny, who's administrator for The Who. He's also a social media strategist for Hammer Films and the former administrator for the Cranberries. He's also head of and president of Eagle Rock Entertainment. Is that Eagle Rock Entertainment?
Yeah, I mean, I do DVDs there.
Okay, and we're also going to be talking to Donal about three agendas tonight: music, Christopher Lee, and experiences at historic locations. Now, if you'd like to send us a question or share your experience, feel free to comment on this post down here. Also, if you'd like to send us a private message, you can go to our website, www.ghostére.net, go to the contact page, fill in the blanks. If you have a private message, just put in brackets private message. Also, if you're affiliated with any paranormal team or tourist attraction, just put in brackets the name of the organization tonight, and we'll give a shout out to you. Also, we'll reveal the results of the poll tonight that we did over the past week, and there's also a quiz. And so, first of all, Donny, how are you keeping? Well, are you in Chicago?
No, I'm. Normally I am, but I went into the countryside. I'm about 100 km into the country to get away from coronavirus and getting shot.
No, so we were going to be talking. I suppose we're going to come to the Who now in a minute. There, and obviously there you worked with the Cranberries there as well. First of all, I suppose everyone can obviously from Ireland there. If people didn't know Dolores, tell us what was Dolores like? Dolores O'Riordan.
Well, she was a great deal of fun. You might not have got that impression of her. She might have seemed a little more morose, in the public eye. But privately, she was just a great time, and that's what I'm going to hold on to. I told you the story the other day about, we were in the Chicago House of Blues. I don't know how many years ago when she was touring solo, and we stayed late and they locked the doors, and we had some drinks and raised some hell, and that's the night that we got it. I taught her how to shoot spit wads through a straw, and we did it for like 2 hours, shooting each other in the face and other people. And that was just a really fun memory. There's a lot, but that's one that stands out as being really fun.
And now it's as well as you're administrator for the Who there, and you work with Roger and Pete as well. Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend. First of all, if people don't know the songs or about the band The Who, did they do the song? Did they do the song "I Am the One and Only"?
I am the one and only. No. It's a good way to if you're not up on them, they're around the era of the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. Do you ever watch CSI?
CSI?
Yeah, crime scene investigation TV show.
Oh yeah, true, yeah.
They do there's 4 of them. They do all the theme songs for all of them. Like Who Are You? Won't Get Fooled Again. Barbara O'Reilly. Teenage Wasteland. Magic Bus. So too many to count, really.
When I mentioned the one and only, I mentioned it's because it's Chesney Hawkes, and wasn't Roger Daltrey in the video of that?
He might have been. He does a lot of acting on the side, so.
Yeah, it was. I think it was from a good few years ago.
One time he did a video with Barbara Streisand, which was ill-advised. I mean, he likes to work, and he's more of likes to work constantly, and Pete likes to just stay in his studio most of the time and work only when he has to.
And as we were saying, we put a post up there a few days ago of Roger. We sent former band members on stage there, Could you elaborate a bit more about that? What can you tell us a bit more what Roger was feeling on stage?
Yeah, that's he could be in a big arena or a stadium, and Pete or the bass player, whoever might be nowhere near him because the stage is so big. They may be 20 feet away, and he'd be in the bit of a number, or in the quiet part of a number, and all of a sudden he'll just feel somebody grab him around the waist or touch him on the shoulder, and there's nobody around. So he always thought that might be him, and then that's when I went on the show in Los Angeles and asked that world famous psychic, is this what's going on? And she indicated that not so much John, who's passed in 2003, but it was Keith that passed in '78 was a real joker, and that he does it and he gets a kick out of it. She said, and he just does that just to is this family show? He just does it to fuck with
Yeah,
us.
yeah. It's after 9 p.m. You're okay there. So Keith passed away, was it in 1970s?
78.
Was it 1978? And
yeah, 2 days ago, 78, 3 days ago.
oh right, okay. Yeah, it was his anniversary, wasn't it? Recently, and as you were saying that, if it was so Roger there, like would he like he felt touches on stage? Would it's only on stage he feels it there? Has he talked about feeling anything else outside of the stage, or maybe in the dressing room, or no?
No, it's always on stage because I think they like Keith especially likes to get a rise out of him and see if he can fuck with him, get him messed up on stage, just for a joke. But like I think we spoke the other day, and I said that I found out later Roger had an aunt who is a medium, a psychic medium, and when he was a boy, and she used to put him in on seances and spirit boards and things like that. So he might be a conduit, whereas Pete, is not really interested. So they think that's why they go after him.
And yeah, because I was going to ask you that question there tonight. Have they any delved into it themselves there? Would you have known if they have there? Tell me, like, you know other people that are interested in the supernatural, but tell me, like with the Who and other bands there, obviously, is there any others? Obviously, they have other bands they connecting with. Is there any people from other bands that do you know of that has that sort of ability, that has an interest into the paranormal?
Yeah, I would say, I was around U2 for a couple years, one tour. There's not much of that there, but I would say Pearl Jam.
Okay.
And some of the Seattle type bands that, everybody kind of knows each other everybody's friends with each other through, you meet backstage and the bands know each other. And I'd say some of the guys in Pearl Jam would be a definite
interest in it.
Yeah, because I just talked to him, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And what I was going to say that if there was any, if you were doing with any, if there was any, what have you got lined up in the future for the Who? Is they touring next year? Are they?
Yeah, there was a tour this year. Yeah. It was supposed to come off this year, the UK and Ireland tour, and they were going to call it the UK tour and include Dublin, and I told them you can't do that. You got to call it the UK and Ireland tour because it's not the UK. So I dust up over that, but because I'm Irish, but I've been over here for a long time. Obviously, you can hear from my voice, but yeah, that was going to go April and May this year, but they had to cancel it. So it's rescheduled for March and early April next year. Fingers crossed, hopefully they might be able to pull off that Ireland and UK tour.
Okay. We just got we've got a shout out there from Hugh James. Hugh James from Counter Entry and Paranormal Research Association. He says, hello, Anthony. Hello, Donal. Hi,
Country, I've been up there. I love it up there. Good to see you.
We're going to talk later on about historic places there that you've been to, Donal. There, Is it do so with the band? Do you reside in London as well? Would it be London? Would you be situated as well? Would you go back to England? Obviously, there.
Yeah, I don't spend too much time there. My whenever it's time to go to that area, I always put myself in Ireland because I'm only I'm if they need me, I'm only like 45 minutes away. But I also I still have some family over in Ireland on both sides, and the ones from Donegal that are down in Dublin, and I got family that's south of Cork still. I still got some cousins and things like that, and so I go to London, but I spend most of my time in Ireland because I like to go to the castles and see what I can find, and I've been doing that for many years.
And Shelley Garrity says hi as well. Hi Shelley, how are you doing?
Hi, how you doing, Shelley?
So I'm just gonna just before clear my throat. Sorry, folks, I got a bit of a fog up on the throat. But I was going to ask you there, the platinum, is that a platinum disc behind you as well? Is it?
Oh, that's the platinum disc for Who's Next? 1971 record. That's the one that's got Barbara O'Reilly, Won't Get Fooled Again, Behind Blue Eyes is on there. Chock full of hits. Yeah, that's actually commemorates 5 million sales.
Right. And and yourself there, do you play any? You recently got a guitar from Pete Townsend. Is it? Are you still waiting for that?
I play guitar. I play a little bit of everything, not too well. It's like when I sound check for Bono. I told you about that. It's like I can play enough to get by.
And that was it. That was actually the Soldier Field, wasn't it, in Chicago? There,
yes,
that was
70,000 empty stadium. That's when I had you had a photo up earlier in the week and of the event. I had somebody take a picture of it because I thought it was cool because I had his stage guitar and I wanted to play it because it's a beautiful Irish Falcon. It's a Gretsch, and I just turned it up and the whole place shook and the bounce back and the feedback. And it's better when there's people in the stadium. Edge said, but I don't know how Edge can do it. You got to be really used to it because it's so loud and there's so much bounce back when you're trying to do that.
And then, as you were saying there, like I remember talking to you the other night there, you mentioned about the noise and all that. I suppose that'll be associated with a gig or in a concert there.
Yeah.
I suppose with people singers going back to Roger's, sensing that other band members are around you, he must be. Sometimes he probably feels like he would be in a different. That the whole world is like a bubble, like he's there on stage and he's in a different world compared to what he sees or feels around him there. I suppose that's how he still probably senses what's around him because he said he couldn't hear. Is that true? That's probably correct.
Yeah, he doesn't. They don't hear very well after all these years, so everything's loud. But I think he can be in the middle of a gig and doing his thing. He's done it so many times. They all have, but if somebody comes up and grabs him and there's nobody around, you might see a flinch, but he's professional enough that he can pull it out without, letting he's not going to stop and say, "What the fuck,"
I suppose that's where it goes.
He feels it.
I suppose that's where it goes back to, like, he's probably, now that he can't hear, he's probably sensing more stuff around him then as well. Like, it's probably, he's getting more of a sense. Yeah, he's more alert in other senses.
More sensitive, yeah.
We just got Joe Hodden says, hi, you two. I remember seeing The Who live many moons ago. I'm 69 now. Oh, no, but you're still young there, Joe. Yeah, there's no worries about that.
69, so if he was 19, that could have been 1970. Or they toured in 1973 or 75 or 76. So probably one of those shows, I would imagine.
Okay. And what I was going to say, so if you've had any experiences, people there, or even if you've seen The Who or the Cranberries there, let us know there as well. If you've ever met the band members there, taking a picture with them as well, do let us know there. Before we move on there, we're going to do a quiz there, like Donny. Each show we're going to do a quiz, and if nobody gets the answer, we'll pass it on to yourself, and you put your name in the draw to win a prize there towards Halloween. So if you can get this, folks, there, it's like a type of hangman there. So I'll just show you. So the clue to this quiz today is, the first clue is halo on plate. So halo on plate. So it's 2 words, and it's underscore underscore R underscore I underscore N, new word underscore underscore O underscore O underscore underscore A P underscore underscore. So that's quite a long one. So it's 2 words, and the first clue is halo on plate. So if you can guess that, folks, before the end of the show, and we'll put your name in the draw to win a good prize towards Halloween. So I'll just go through a quick more. Joe just commented a minute ago. She said, "Yeah, that would be about right." So yeah, 1970s. That's probably when she saw them in concert.
Did Joe remember the show?
So yeah, Joe, would you remember the show? We'll ask Joe that there, if she remembers the show there.
Was it 10
yeah,
pints in?
Yeah, if could comment as well, Joe, whereabouts you saw it as well, which city you saw it, or which town there, that'd be great there as well. As well. So we're just gonna.
Yeah, we might have filmed it. There might be film still in the archives.
Yeah, if you can come back and tell us there, Joe, there, exactly there. So we're talking also about Christopher Lee tonight. Mm-hmm. Christopher Lee, great icon there of Hammer horror. Can you tell us there, Donny, there, what's your experiences of Christopher there? I know he was a close family friend, was it?
Yeah, my grandfather was in the Hammer films, and he also made some for Vulcan films, which later became Amicus, which was kind of like in the 60s and 70s, they were kind of 1-2 with Hammer. They did the gothic horror back then. And no, my grandfather started in he was a stage actor. He started in, his first film, I think, was The Curse of Frankenstein in 1957, and he was killed in it by Christopher Lee. Okay. As the monster. He was strangled to death. He was an old man with his son. He played an old blind man, and so he was, strangled to death by the monster. His hammer is, they're not very kind. And then he was a Yeti in the Snowman, the Abominable Snowman. Okay. And he was in one called City of the Dead and Scream of Fear. And probably his best known one was he played the priest and the vicar in The Brides of Dracula about 1960 with Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing was another guy that, I kind of got to meet. And Vincent Price, obviously, through them. They were all 3 really good friends. And later in life, when I was old enough to know what was going on, I was able to meet him through my father worked in the the things you read about in films, Key Grips and Best Boy and all that kind of thing. He did the behind the scenes stuff. So that's how I was able to meet him later in life after my grandfather died. And then, then some time passed, and then we met again later on, even yet through music, because Christopher, who did everything, got into music. And I, speaking of Christopher and Peter, their friendship that was so good. One thing that most people don't know about them is that, I'll throw it out there because it's kind of funny, is that they both enjoyed to watch the Looney Tunes cartoons all the time and laugh like fucking hell. It was Bugs Bunny and Sylvester the Cat and those Warner Brothers, yeah. I think but they loved them, and they go to theaters and see them together. And Dracula and Frankenstein's, Van Helsing and the Dracula were friends in real life, and they got thrown out of it. And they were in Piccadilly over in London, and they were laughing so loud and mimicking the words on the screen from the all the different characters, and they got thrown out. And this was after they were famous. And yeah. I wouldn't want to throw Chris out because he was 7 feet tall. He's Well, he wasn't 7 feet tall, but he was about 6.5 feet tall. He was a big guy, and but no, they were asked to leave because they were disrupting the film for everyone else. And I always find that as one of the funny stories that not many people know about.
And so, like as you mentioned, Peter Cushing as well. They're icons, and back to horror films there.
Yeah.
But like so, Christopher, like I suppose for younger people now, and there's so many generations like of movie what goers of different generations would have known him playing different characters. There, obviously, he was in Lord of the Rings, and he was in Star Wars there.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the young people found him because I do the one of the Hammer Films Twitters. I'm behind that, and it amazes me all the time that I would think most of our fans would be 80, 70, 60, maybe 50, but there's 15-year-olds that love Christopher Lee, and through the Lord of the Rings and Peter Cushing was in Star Wars. Uh, they've gone back to the 50s and 60s films and just rediscovered them, and they buy the DVDs of Hammer Films, and they just sell so many copies. It's very encouraging. It's kind of like with the Who. People hear the band now and then they go back and discover the old music, and so when the concerts, it's the concerts aren't a bunch of old people. The concerts are people from anywhere from 15 all the way to 75.
True. And yeah, as we were saying, the different generations and all that. I suppose Christopher Lee, he was even up until about 5 or 6 years ago. Was it in a band? Was it a song he was in as well
Yeah, he
before?
passed away in I think May of 2015, and I think around 2010, about 5 years before he passed, he recorded 2 heavy metal albums. Who would have thought? This guy's but he had a big opera booming voice, and so the heavy metal albums have kind of an opera sound to him. But he got an award for one of them. It's just amazing to me, and I think we were talking the other day how I got to get back in touch with him was the Who are friends with like Joe Perry from Aerosmith, the guitar player, and different people, and they created that band, the Hollywood Vampires. Joe Perry, I think, Alice Cooper, and Johnny Depp is in it, who's a character. And Johnny Depp and Christopher Lee worked in many films together. So he talked him into doing a track on the album called The Last Vampire. And I think it was the last vocal he ever recorded, but he still sounds menacing and great. And it's something to check out on YouTube or something, yeah, it's just really interesting. His career just went on. I think he's in the Guinness Book as making the most films and maybe the most sword fights and the most. He's got several records in the Guinness Book of World Records because his career went from 19. He started acting in the 40s. It went all the way till he died, 2015.
And as you say, like like the family, you knew him as well when you were very young, and then you knew him throughout your life there. And did he, as we were just talking before we came on there, did his life change? Was he a different person through the years, or?
Not really. I mean, there was a notable change in the way his appearance. Because I think when he was making I think you mentioned The Resident for Hammer when they first came back. He tripped on some cables making that film and hurt his back and had to have back surgery. So from then on, the last 5 years, he walked with a cane because he had the back surgery. But other than that, I think he was pretty much the same. He never. I mean, as far as being sharp, he never lost a. He was on spot all the time.
Okay. And just you there, Donny? I think we've lost.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you there. I don't know if we've just lost you on screen there.
Oh yeah, I see the logo there.
Okay. Maybe. So I'm just going to play a video first. Anyway, with Christopher Lee in there, and I'll probably if you want to try and log in there again, Donny, there if you can. Sorry, there I've just lost you on screen. Right. Something just cut short there.
Okay.
And I'm just going to play the video of this is Christopher Lee. Donal Smith. Donny sent this in to us there, and it's to do with Christopher Lee reciting a bit of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and in the backstage in the dressing room. So for a few minutes there, listening to this there, folks, you might like this there. Rare footage. Archive.
See if I get the audio here. Hello?
Yeah, so that was Bram Stoker's Dracula there. So I've unmuted myself there. And this is Donny. Are you, Donny? You're back again there. Oh, we've lost Donny again. Can you hear me, Donny? Okay, we'll get Donny back in again soon there, folks. I don't know if he's been lost again. So we're going to do a few shouts out there. So Joe Hoden said, yeah, that's about right. I suppose that was to do with the time the concert was, probably in the 70s. Hello, Donny.
Hello, I'm back.
We're all in that technical details. It's like Christopher Lee at the beginning of that footage there says, oh, no, we'll go back in. So Joe Hoden says, you cheeky. So I was on about probably the year the Who were on tour. Madeline Brunegal, fan of the show, she says, hi, y'all. Got here a little late, but I am here. Hi, Madeline. Joe commented as well. Yeah, you cheeky one. Lots of laughs. Just try digging out my diary. I think it was Leeds. Not sure. Long time ago.
Leeds would
Laugh
be
out
1970. Yeah.
loud. Okay, Leeds. That'd be Leeds in England. And we have Joe saying not playing this end. Okay. Louise says not playing.
The film.
Maybe probably the film there could be something else there. It's a nice black screen. All right, so show I make us all a cup. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The video footage should have come up there. We're still going on live anyway. I think we're still live anyway. Now, if we're still alive there, if you can still hear us, just give us a shout out, help us out there. Like loads of technical issues tonight. So just go on about Hammer Films there, Donny. As we're talking about there, which when was the last? I know recently they did Women in Black.
Yeah.
Recently there, that was with Daniel Radcliffe there. When was the last film the Hammer Films made?
Yeah, there was like a 2-3 year break, and then they just did one called The Lodge, Lodge.
Okay.
Kind of a devil-inspired, madness-inspired, creepy film. I would say check it out. It's I think in Americas it's on Hulu, and it can be rented elsewhere. I'm sure, but it came out this early this year, and it's got Elvis Presley's granddaughter as the lead, Riley Keough, and it's creepy, very creepy film.
Right. And what's your favorite Hammer film there before?
Oh, my favorite. There's so many that they made about 140 horror films between 1956 and 75. If I had to put one, The Devil Rides Out, Christopher Lee did that in 1968. That's certainly up there. Uh, their version of Dracula with Peter Cushing and Christopher is up there. The Quatermass film from '67. They weren't in that, but that was a really good storyline. Uh, it's hard to find a bad one. There's just so many good ones. Those are three of the really good ones, and probably their version of 1959, The Mummy, with Christopher as the mummy, and Peter Cushing usually plays the good guy. They're in a lot of them together.
And because so the film still can be seen now and again as well. I think on the Horror Channel there on Sky or something like that over here.
Yeah, and the Talking Pictures, and they're everywhere. Talking Pictures, I think, is English, but they're going to be on TCM. I think that's worldwide. TCM. But they're going to around Halloween. You're going to see all of them. They're all coming up.
Irene says, fan of the page. Hi guys, I can hear you. That's great. We're not talking.
Oh, hi, Irene. Is that a Smith?
Great. So one person can hear.
It's not my real last name, by the way, but it's a good. It's a what is a County Cavan name? That's kind of that's an alias. That's not my last name. My last name, my Irish last name is Hurley. Hurley.
Oh yeah, because I was no Smith. No Smith is origins from McGowan, like Shane McGowan. I think it has origins to there.
Oh, from the Pogues, yeah. He used to live out in Bono's backyard. He did. Bono had a little stone shed out in his backyard, and at one point, Shane McGowan, they'd send him sandwiches. He was living out there. He lived out there for about 6 months. You know how he is.
And Madeline says he can hear you loud and clear, can see you, but you're buffering occasionally there. That'd be probably me, like. But as I was saying, I suppose there was, what we were showing was a video there of Christopher Lee backstage there of a theatre there reciting Bram Stoker's Dracula there. If it's not up, I'll put it up on the Facebook page tomorrow. So we're just going to go back to the quiz there, folks, before we go to one of the subjects there, the last agenda. So the first clue tonight, folks, was Halo on a plate. And here's the the question, like, so the hangman question. So it's __R_I_N, new word __O__A_P___. So it's 2 words. And the second clue tonight is object subjected to high voltage electrical fields. So it's, the first clue is halo on a plate, and the second clue is object subjected to high voltage electric fields. So it's
K2
2
meter.
words. K2 meter there.
No, wait,
Could be
Aaron Oompa Loompa.
I know it looks weird. It looks weird, but there's people will, you know, if you're into any sort of, I'm not going to mention the third clue is going to be, probably give it away there, but if you can get this, you'll get into a draw for the Halloween. Emily Moriarty says, hello guys, hello all the family, hello all the Moriartys there, all the love there in Tralee there. My wife Jennifer's relatives, my relatives. Yeah,
I got thrown out of a hotel in Tralee one time.
We'll come to that now. There, we'll go to the dirty stuff now near the end of the show.
Yeah, Ballygowan House, I think it was called.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right, was that? Oh, right.
Yeah, okay. I put the TV out the window. Yeah, that was back in the old days.
Disgraceful, Downey. There. What we're going to do is I'm just going to show a poll as well, folks. This week we did a poll there and was asking, should paranormal investigators hold a license regulated by a governing body to visit private house calls? And here are the results, which are a bit interesting here, folks. So we asked the question there, and the answer is 71.4% of you said yes. 26.6% of you said maybe or unsure, and actually none of you voted for no. So actually 71.4% of you voted for yes, paranormal investigators should hold a license, you know. So here are more the statistics, just show the other chart of the poll. If I hide that and put that one up, sorry. Should paranormal?
I see Lou's question. I can answer that.
I know. We'll come to. Yeah, that's Keane there, who was on the who was supposed to be co-hosting with us tonight. There, should paranormal investigators hold licenses regulated by a government body when dealing with private home cases? 71.4% said yes, 28.6% said maybe or unsure, and 0% said no. So we should all have licenses, which I probably would be intending to agree with that as well. Many people will probably argue with me about that. What do you think, Donny?
About a license?
Yeah,
well, if you're dealing with something dangerous, maybe a dangerous entity, you know, once in a while you'll hit one of those, maybe you should have a license. But if it's just general, like I do, I don't see any need for it. It kind of depends on how seriously you're involved in it, I think.
True. We just go like to Lou Myers, which is Keir, member of GhostÉire. He says, wasn't Christopher Lee supposed to play the character Dr. Loomis in the Halloween movie, which was taken by Donald Pleasance? So,
that's an interesting story. Yeah, well, Christopher Lee was the first choice to play Dr. Loomis, and they couldn't give him enough money. But the second choice was Peter Cushing, and they couldn't give him enough money either. And so they got Donald Pleasance. Back in those days, John Carpenter didn't have the kind of money he has now. So the first choice was Lee. Then they asked Cushing, and Donald Pleasance was the third choice, but he did a fine job. But it didn't pay very much. So that is how that came about.
And Lou Myers, Lou Myers, which is key in there, GhostÉire team member, smiley face. Hugh says, sorry, Anthony, what was the clue I missed? I'll come to the quiz again in a bit there. Hugh, it was to do with halo on a plate and object subjected to high voltage electronic fields. I'll show you it in another little bit there. So we're going to talk about the next agenda there, Donny, which is experiences at historic locations there.
Oh yeah.
And like you've visited, which places in Ireland? Well, first of all, I suppose, which places have you visited in Ireland? Which
Oh yeah,
historic,
dozens
like?
and dozens. Yeah, lots
Mm.
and lots and lots. And and then the rule is, I don't know how many I've visited over the years. Say 50. Uh, Generally, there's not going to be much of anything, and then some you're going to have the heavy, gloomy feeling, and there's four that I can think of. There may be more that I've had some experiences in, and so I don't know. It works out to 15% experiences, 40 some percent heavy, gloomy feeling, 50% like the well-known ones like Dromoland or Adair Manor, or Ashford Castle. There's really no experience to speak of in those kinds of places, but
And
some of them
yeah,
there are.
like you were you told me a story there last night. Well, the other night, sorry, the night before last. There was to
Mm.
do with, was it Glen Castle and Glencastle, sorry, in
Yeah.
County Limerick.
Yep.
What was the experience there?
Well, that's when I was drinking a lot, and I used to drink with the knight, Des, the Knight of Glyn. He's passed away now, and that was a place where he told me, I don't know how true, but he told me that there were several beheadings right in the castle back in the old days. That's what he told me. And that place had a very, very heavy, gloomy feeling uh, to it. And I remember one night I was staying there back when I was married, so it's a long time ago. But we had a problem with the bureau, the dresser drawers. The
Knocking, yeah.
drawers would do a little bit of this and stop, and then in the middle of the night you'd sleep and they'd wake you up. Just poltergeist type activity there, but a very creepy place. It's not a hotel anymore. You can't stay there. I think we discussed. I think it's maybe for weddings now, but it's a nice place. It's on the Shannon, but it's definitely got a very creepy history to it, and there is some activity there for sure.
And yeah, I remember watching a documentary. I think it was a few years ago. There, I think it was just, I forget now who the gentleman that hosted it. I think he was in actually a program years ago called what was it called? All Creatures Great and Small. I forget it was, and I think it was Anthony. I forget his name now. Like, but he was to do with, he visited Glencastle there, and he interviewed the
The
knights there.
housekeepers had trouble. Yeah, they had
Yeah,
housekeepers that had a lot of trouble there.
yeah, and as I was saying, I think the Glencastle as well. What I know of it as well is that there's to do with the Hellfire Club in Limerick as well. There was a lot of
Oh yeah.
influence there. I know there was one particular place we investigated in County Limerick there, which
Mm.
is a ruined building now, but the knight actually took artifacts from there as well. So it's
Oh
all
yeah.
there's a big connection with I think it was Fitzgerald anyway, which is
Yeah, the
and
Hellfire Club that goes back what 200-300 years. They got into some crazy stuff. Yeah.
true. And as you said, like there's other areas. Is there any places you want to come back to Ireland and visit, or yourself?
Everywhere. I just miss everybody. Haven't been able to come back because of COVID. I haven't been able to come back for a year and a half, something like that. And but as far as like as far as like places to visit that I've had experiences, the we're troubled with pronunciation, but it's
Karen Ann House in
Cahernan. Yeah,
yeah.
that's got a funny. Yeah, that's where I met Van Morrison. That place was the creepiest, along with Kilkea
Mm.
in County Kildare. Very creepy. And the other one would be the ship captain's house. He laid the first transatlantic cable across to America, so they gave him the house. I can't think Captain. I can't think of his name, but it's turned into a hotel in Rathnew in Wicklow, Tinnikilly House, and it's
Yeah.
pretty haunted too. That's where I took the film of they'd let me investigate. And by that time, I had my own FLIR camera, and I had a few things, recordings, and that's when I went down in the cellar and nobody goes down there, and I found my name on the wall written in red, and that scared the shit out of me.
It was something to do with a career ending. I was like, so I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was like, this is the end of your career, and I said, okay. I said, I think I'll go back upstairs now. Leave it to the professionals, right?
People,
But yeah, that was
yeah,
a creepy place.
if people,
It's the kind of place where you walk in, they've got the portraits on the walls, and all the eyes seem to follow you around, you know. But I'll say the Kilkea was really strange because part of the castle was built, you know, what, 800 years ago, and then they have the new section. And then when I got there, my wife at the time, and we had a small daughter back then, and we still do. I mean, she's not a small daughter anyway. But she was probably 2 and traveling with us, and I remember being in Kilkea, and right away I knew there was trouble because when we were checking in, you go around the corner, there's a suit of armor, an old suit of armor from the old days, and my daughter was holding a conversation with it. She's 2, and she was sitting there, Mr. Knight, and then she was answering the suit of armor as if she was getting answers, and that freaked me out right away. She was like, "Well, I don't think we can," you know. I was like, well, "Who are you talking? I don't hear anything." His kids, I guess, or maybe they're more sensitive. But she was talking to this suit of armor, so I knew it was going to be trouble. And then they started telling me the story of the rooms they don't rent out on the in the old part of the castle. There's 2 rooms. They tried to get a psychic medium in there a few times to try and cleanse them, and they just, you know, never could. So they don't rent these 2 rooms out. And so, you know, my wife at the time wanted a room in the newer part of the castle, you know, to stay away from that kind of business. But of course, the room we got was right under those 2 rooms in the old part of the castle. And I think if I remember, I was telling you we were sleeping in the middle of the night, and they had the chandeliers, you know, the cords that come down with the chandelier, and you can pull them up. And the 2-year-old wakes me up in the middle of the night and says, you know, why is the chandelier just like right by your face, and then it's moving up and down by itself, and I look up and it's shaking, you know, like it just moved down. Crazy stuff, you know.
that is
But
spooky when the daughter says that. Like, I can see it moving up and down the
yeah, why is the
chandelier.
chandelier this close to your face? And I look up and it's up there. It's way up where it's supposed to be, but it's moving like this. I was like, well, I don't know. Pack your bags. No,
As
we
people don't know.
actually we did the next night on insistence of the ex-wife. We moved into a room in the new part of the castle. She would not stay another night in that room.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her. But as you were saying, like Carran House, which is in Muckross, and that's in Killarney in County Kerry, folks. There, if
Yeah,
nobody
that's
knows that
down
is.
not too far from Ross Castle. You know, it's right down the Muckross Road, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's
And
yeah, it was to do with a brother, is it? A brother of?
yeah, the Queen Victoria gave the Muckross house, the big house. Queen Victoria gave that to a brother, that 2 Englishmen. I think that was back in the days when they had, you know, they uh, had landlords. And then the smaller house, which isn't small at all, but it's a lot smaller than Muckross, was at Karen, and that went to the younger brother. And yeah, that place, even though I don't think it's got a huge history of being terribly haunted, was very haunted. That was even more so than Kilkee. That one was the night. I don't think we ever got into the story, but that was before I had any kids, and I had that same wife. It was maybe a year earlier, and I was over for holiday and to visit family, and we were in there. Uh, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you know how the walls are made of stone, and the windows are wood, and they got like a tool they use to,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
make
like,
sure the
yeah,
windows are tightened up.
yeah.
Yeah, and so our window was cracked that much, you know, at the top because they, you know, because it's old and it probably slipped a bit, you know, and there's so that kind of sets up the story, and so, you know, it had a kind of a gloomy feeling to it. I ended up going there a lot. I told you when I met Pat, I ended up drinking there a lot at the
Yeah.
bar in the south. But this is when I was actually staying there, and I had a nice suite room, and so what happened there was one night, you know, I don't know Well, you live there, so you'll know. You know how sometimes of the year it stays light out really late.
True.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Would you say past 10, past 11?
That's one day of the year. That's midsummer.
Twilight. Twilight.
Twilight. Yeah. Twilight.
You can't really see too much what's going on with the lights out. It's dark, but it's not. It's a big moon. So it was
Okay.
one of those nights, and laying there sleeping for all I knew, I was awake in the bed there in the castle, and it's a manor house. But I saw a figure, and as sure as I'm sitting here, I saw a figure. It was a grayish black. It was like a shadow, and
Right.
it got up off the bed. It kind of sat up like this, and then it moved off the bed and headed towards the bathroom.
Right.
So I, of course, thought it was her. So I reached up and I was going to grab her by the neck or whatever and just throw her down for a joke on the bed, right? So I reached up and my hands went right straight through it. And I
Jesus.
was like, what the fuck is this? And so, I was out of bed. I had all the lights on. Immediately, I turned every light in the fucking place on. I was like, "You didn't just get up." She's like, "No, I've been sleeping." I was like, "Well, then we have a visitor." And then she was like, "Oh, what happened?" And then about that point, we look at the bed linens, the pillowcases
Mm.
and all that, and the sheets, and there's blood, just
Oh
pieces
my
of
God.
blood all over the pillowcases.
Jesus.
We didn't get into
Jesus.
that the other day. And I was
No.
like, what the hell's going on? And so I got to looking around, and then we called for the porter to come up, and we told him, he said, get up here. Something's going on? And what had
Mm.
happened is, how in ticks in America, and in Ireland,
Oh
we
yeah.
used to call them, I think, midges,
Midges.
bugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Cool.
had crawled up the wall and crawled into the room, and they sucked blood, like a
Yeah. Yeah.
tick. Yeah, and
True.
so they had got in and they were all over us, and they were feeding on us in the middle of the fucking night. There was blood all over the pillowcases, spots of blood where they had been feeding on, and there was a lot of them.
And
And
maybe
it
that's
was,
probably maybe that's why the spirit probably told you there, like it probably
yeah,
woke you
and I
there to
think
get you up.
it said you better wake up because you're gonna be, you think Christopher Lee's here draining your fucking blood,
But
and,
that's another interesting
and
thing as well, because like
yeah,
my with housekeeping, people would know in hotels, like we get something occasionally you will get bed bugs. Probably mostly a lot there because people are
yeah,
traveling
yeah,
from different countries there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's probably where don't let the bed bugs bite is because you do probably. You get they are known to actually cause itching, scratching, which you might even cause a bad night's sleep as well. Even could cause rapid eye movement and stuff like that. And, but as you're saying that, yeah. So that was going back to Muckwas there as well. I'm just going to give
Yeah,
a
the
quick.
porter, he put the window back up. He took the stick and put the window up. He goes, okay, you should be fine now. But she wasn't going to stay in that room. And so she
No,
ended up still sleeping in the library.
and
But on the
you
way
know what?
out, they gave us all our money back. They said, we can't
Yeah.
charge you. You got your blood drained. I said, well, that sounds fair.
I don't know why. Did she ever go on holiday with you ever again, moving rooms all the time?
What?
Did she ever go on holiday with you again, moving rooms
No,
all
I
the
think those
time?
2 trips took care of that situation. She was Swiss anyway, from Switzerland, and that took care of her Ireland adventures. Of course, I come back all the time, but because I love it. But that girl did not love it.
So before we go, we'll just go a few shouts out. But before that, if you're there still, Hugh, we'll just go over the quiz again. Everyone, you got last 5 minutes. So it's 2 words. And it's the first clue was halo on a plate, and the second clue was object subjected to high voltage electric fields, and the third clue is colors. So it's 2 words. It's __r _I _n, new word __o _AP __. Now, if you don't get this, you probably kick yourselves, folks. So this is the last chance to try and get this. I'll probably leave it up there whilst we go and do the last few shouts out. So Lou Myers, which is keen, he says this is to do with I think back to Christopher Lee, and he did indeed fine job. Donald did. Would have been interesting to see Christopher Lee's take on it, though. That's
he
to
would
do
have
with
been very
Halloween.
menacing, I'm sure. Yeah.
In Halloween, Madeline says, "Do you think there is a possibility of entities, spirits communicate to one another, even if they are from different eras?" Would you try to answer that, Donny, yourself?
Yeah, well, Anthony and I are doing it right now. We're spirits from different areas. I'm in Chicago and he's in Killarney. No, it's
Yeah, we're
like, no,
trying to.
no, that's my home. I tell you what, and depending on the election, I might move back, so you might be seeing me. But do I think it's yeah? Why wouldn't they be able to communicate? Yeah, I would think they would. What do you think, Anthony? You're the expert on that one. I would
suppose
say.
possibly if entity spirits communicate to one another. Yeah, I do believe they do there as well. I think the distance probably shortens once you go on to the afterlife there.
Yeah, if you watch the Travel Channel over here, we got a million programs on the paranormal at the Travel Channel, and they're always communicating. It's like it's always like the little spirit of the little girl and is communicating with the adult that's dead. So
yeah, true.
Yeah, I would say that makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I would go with that, or to do with which I'm going to talk to you about another day is like dark and light. How we're always told to go towards the light, which is probably to speed up time. But I suppose if we're all in the dark, which is less three-dimensional, which is why we probably paranormal investigators work in the dark, is because the spirits, the three dimensions aren't seen. And it's supposed to be better.
Yeah, so is that why they say lights out? Why is that? To get
so the spirits don't take not noticeable as much there. So it's, as we told by is as you know, light is measured in distance, as we say, light years going up as far out as light years. A meter is measured in light as well. So 1 meter is measured in light. So it's everything's measured in light. Supposedly, and distance as well. Time is measured in distance, like from 12 to 1 on a clock. So it's all to do with distance and light.
Well, I know they love to drain batteries too, don't they?
True, yeah. And they love to ruin these live feeds as well. So Joe Hoden says, "I'm going to have to watch the rest of it tomorrow. We'll probably come to your question by tomorrow." Probably still on air.
Yeah, you can let her know. Yeah, we've there's about 20 minutes of film leads, but of course the record is the whole concert was taped on audio.
True, yeah. Just to do with the concert there, if it was in Leeds there. She says, "Thank you so much, both of you. So much knowledge and so interesting. Really enjoyed it. Keep safe, everyone." I think she's talking to you, Donny, about
thanks,
knowledge.
Not about me, my knowledge. I keep the coronavirus out. I tell you what, the coronavirus is bad over here, but the machine guns are worse.
True, I know. Yeah,
everybody's got a damn machine gun over here. It's like I want to get back to Ireland and get away from that.
Mary Kate Barry, hi Mary, how you doing, Mary? She says, "Thank you both. Good watching tonight." Thank you there.
Mary Kate Barry.
Not completely off air there. So, folks, I'm going to have to come to the end of the quiz. Before I give the answer, do you know the answer there, Donny?
No, I would say it would be, let's see. I'm going to stick with Era Moompa Loompa. I don't know. You've got me, man. I don't know what that is.
So, folks, the first clue was halo on a plate. The second clue was object subjected to high voltage electric fields. And the third clue was colors. And the answer is anyone coming up? Nobody's got it. Hugh says, "Thanks, guys. Sorry, it cut out a few times." The answer is Kirlian photography, which is used for, you put the halo on a plate. That's how they first discovered it on there. Yeah. Object subjected to high voltage electric fields, which is put onto a photographic plate.
Yeah, I
And
used
then
to
you
be
can
into
go out.
spirit photography a lot. I used to study into spirit photography. I like the old pictures from the 100 years ago. Those really are. I find those very interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing how it comes back in again. There, like people, it was also fraudulent there, but now it's probably one of the main ways to find out if there is any afterlife. People taking photographs.
Yeah, the
And
more
so,
people that have iPhones and the more people that have cameras and use them, just like they're seeing, like now people getting their heads beat in the street. The more people that use their iPhones, they're going to catch more. In my opinion, they're going to catch more spirits and things. So it's going to become more and more. I
true,
think.
I'd say so more. Yeah, yeah, because people see other teams. I've seen with other teams, they're getting inundated with footage there as well.
Yeah, my
There,
favorite show in America that I watch when I'm here is called Paranormal Caught on Camera. And
okay.
all they do, it's just people's iPhones, and it's Bigfoot or spirits or anything, poltergeists, and they've got a lot of stuff, so they're catching a lot more.
So we just go back, and the last bit is just the poll, folks. So we asked, we did a poll. We've got another poll coming up soon. In next another 2 weeks, should paranormal investigators hold licenses regulated by a governing body when dealing with private home cases? And 71.4% of you said yes, and 26.6% of you said maybe or unsure, and nobody said no. So we're all going to get licenses soon. So that's
Well, my question would be, I've got dual citizenship, so if I is my license going to be good in America and in Ireland, or do I
yeah,
have to
that's a
get the
really good
two?
question. Then you'd have to get a governing body over there as well. I don't know if we get
It's
one
next
over
week's
here.
question.
So before I end the show as well, now next week we're doing a paranormal special show on Fortress Spike Island investigation review on the GhostÉire channel. And then in 2 weeks' time, we have Hugh and Elaine from County Antrim Paranormal Research Association. Hugh as well.
I love
That's
them.
hi, Hugh. You got love if I not coming on the show. We'll see you in 2 weeks, Elaine and Hugh there. And Donny, really, thank you. Appreciate it there. Thank you for tuning in tonight there. And
No,
Rob,
it was fun.
tuning
It
in.
was good fun.
Thank you for coming on there. And we will talk to you then. If coming over to Ireland, then hopefully we'll definitely meet up anyway. But, probably hopefully we go to an investigation together as well. It'd be brilliant there as well.
Yeah, yeah, it would be good if when this whole thing's over with, if I can get, I have somebody in mind. We could bring a rock star and maybe have some fun checking out a haunted location. That would be a lot of fun.
That'd be amazing there. And folks, thank you for tuning in, and tune in next week and another 2 weeks' time. And I hope you all stay safe. Have a great weekend, and Slán go fóill.
Slán, peace.